Well, hey there, my friend, Abby here. Today we're going to be making these super cool faux rhinestone designs with holographic sparkle heat transfer vinyl. I am going to show you how fun it is to be able to use these special designs that are filled with little round dots that look like rhinestones to create a faux rhinestone effect with sparkly glitter heat transfer holographic vinyl. So I do recommend using heat transfer vinyl for this and not regular adhesive vinyl, although they do make holographic vinyl in that as well. The reason I recommend it is because with our heat transfer, it comes on its own liner already, and you don't have to go through the process of transferring it with transfer tape, which makes this process a little bit smoother and easier. Now the good news is with heat transfer vinyl, you can use it on things like shirts and tote bags and pillowcases and even wood. So things like signs and clothing and all of that stuff, they're going to be completely possible for you, which gives you a world of crafts to choose from. So the other supplies you're going to need for this project is going to be a Cricut machine. You can use other cutting machines as well, but I'm using a Cricut machine here. Any Cricut machine will work, even the Cricut Joy. You're just going to need to make sure that you're scaling things to size if you're using the smaller Joy machine. I'm going to be using a standard grit green mat here. I'm going to have a weeding tool on hand to be able to weed my holographic heat transfer vinyl. I also recommend having a brayer tool on hand because this is very handy for like pressing the material to the mat. You may need to have a pair of scissors as well in order to trim down your vinyl. You're going to need to have some sort of blank to put your designs onto. So you can do wood signs, tote bags, you can do pillowcases, shirts, all of that great stuff. And all of these designs that you're seeing here are free for my community. So for this initial tutorial on doing this faux rhinestone design with our holographic vinyl, I wanted to do a July 4th theme because July 4th is a great time to sparkle. So I thought this would be really fun. You can get all of these designs for free in my community, and the link is going to be below for you. Now, if you like this technique where I'm designing these files with these rhinestone effects, let me know below and I may design other things. So let me know if you like them and let me know what other types of designs you would like to see with this particular effect. The last thing you're going to need for this craft is going to be a heat press. So I am using an Easy Press here. I'm using the Easy Press 3, but you could use any of the Easy Presses, even the Easy Press Mini. So for this sign here, I ended up using the Easy Press Mini because it has a frame and I couldn't put my full press on it, and I just used the Easy Press Mini on it. So any of those will work and get the job done. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and don't forget to download all of these free July 4th SVG files below. The link is for you in the video description.
Alright, so for Design Space setup, all you're going to need to do is first upload these files. Like I said, these designs are free on AbbiKirstenCollections.com. You'll just need to log into our freebie vault, which you can do. You can create an account for free and get all of these SVG files for yourself. So if you've never uploaded anything to Cricut before, you would come over here to the upload button, and then you would browse your computer to bring that SVG file in. I have a full step-by-step video tutorial on everything you need to know for uploading files to Design Space, which is linked below, so you can check that out if you need more in-depth information. Once you get your designs loaded here into Design Space, you're just going to need to scale these to the size that you would like for your particular craft. Now, when working with these rhinestone effect designs here, I strongly recommend not going too small, because if you go too small, then you're going to have some difficulty with the little dots catching when you're trying to weed your vinyl. So you will see in the video here that I do this American flag at about 4.5 inches, which is the smallest design I've done, and I had a little bit of difficulty. I was still able to get it to work just fine. And I'll show you my tip for that. But these other designs here where I made them a little bit larger, like this one that I put on my sign was about 9.5 inches, and this one went on my tote bag at this 10-inch by 7.8 inch size. None of these I had any problems with. Other than that, there isn't any other prep you need to do. If you want to change the colors here on your canvas, you can always click in the layers panel over here and change the representing color if you would like to, change that out for your preference, or perhaps you're using a different holographic vinyl and you would like to be able to see what that will look like. Don't forget to save your project once you've done all this so you don't have to redo these steps in the future. And then all you need to do is click on the Make It button and select your holographic iron-on material. It's going to sort everything by color, of course, and this is a lot of different cutouts here all at once. So I'm going to click continue, and then it'll connect to our Cricut machine. Okay, and then we just need to select our base material. So I'm choosing the Holographic Sparkle Iron-On here. And you want to make sure you mirror your design. So if you've made it to this cut screen here and you didn't mirror on the first cut screen, you can just click on the edit button and click mirror. Anytime you're using iron-on or a fusible ink, you need to make sure you're mirroring each one of these mats. So you'll want to toggle that on, okay? And then once you've done that, select your material. So Holographic Sparkle Iron-On is what I recommend. You could also use a glitter iron-on if you want to give that a try. It still has a cool effect. In general, the default pressure is usually fine. I have found on a few of the designs that upping the pressure to more can be helpful, especially if your blade is not super brand new or sharp, and it'll do a better job with all those little circles. So let's go ahead and cut this out.
Alright, so we just finished going over the quick design space setup. I'm going to go ahead and put my material down here, starting with my red. We're going to press that down. You need to make sure that the pretty shiny side is down, and don't forget to mirror when you're working with iron-on, also known as heat transfer vinyl. So make sure pretty side is down, shiny side is down, and we're mirroring so that our design is going to turn out the right direction once it's pressed on to our blank. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and load this up. Alright, so I'm going to peel my mat away from my material here. Okay, and so I'm going to weed. So I'm doing a little American flag on a shirt, kind of at like the top corner of the shirt. And then I'm also going to do a pillowcase for you guys in this video. So what you want to do is basically just be careful and go slow and peel this back. Now I will say, if anything is catching, I have a couple of little dots here that are catching and they're not laying down. I highly recommend just peeling this off and then going back, and I'll show you what I do to get things placed so that you're not wasting your time trying to like poke through with the weeding tool. I mean, you can do that if you want. I find that my way is a little easier. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. You will potentially lose a few little pieces. That's kind of just the way of it. Especially the smaller you go with your design. If you go larger, I have not had as many issues. Okay, so it looks like I lost maybe about 8 little dots in there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right over the top, and I'm going to start pushing all the little dots out. Just in a random location. Getting all of them out. And if they're not wanting to come out very easily, mine are coming out pretty well, you can always just kind of knock them out with your fingers, which is another option. So, okay, so the few little guys here that got knocked out of place, I like to just get them all positioned back on here, and then I'll push with my weeding tool, pick them up, and just set them back where they go. And it literally takes like a couple of minutes, and you're good to go. To me, this is easier than trying to like poke and pick at it when you're weeding the vinyl initially. And because you're dealing with a very easy to see pattern, you can just pop these back in like in 2 seconds. So if that happens to you, I have lots of designs that I've done that are larger than this one, and it has not happened at all. So I'm showing you this only because if it does happen, then you'll know what to do. When you go larger though, it doesn't tend to happen because the dots aren't as small. So they won't get picked up as easily as you're weeding your vinyl. But if it does happen, just pop them back in like that. Okay, so there we go. We've got that part done. I'm just going to leave that right there. And then let's weed our stars here. There we go. All right, so our stars are done. Those are ready to be added on. I've also weeded out this design here that I am going to use to create on another pillowcase. So I'm going to show you both of those. Here's also a look at doing a design where it has, it's a lot larger than this one. Actually, let me compare to this one. And this one I had no problems weeding this, nothing lifted up at all. So just to give you a little bit of comparison there. So what I'm going to do is set my easy press here. So there is a Cricut heat guide you can use to set this up, or you could use the Cricut heat app if you like. I'm going to power this on. And Cricut recommends 330 degrees for 30 seconds. So I'm going to hit the temperature button and I'm going to increase to 330. And then I'm going to hit the time button and I'm going to decrease that from my 40-second timer to my 30-second timer. And then we're going to let it heat up. So I'm going to set this aside while it heats up and we're going to prep our blank. Okay, so for this part, I'm going to be using a pillowcase here for the America one with the starburst effect. And then I'm going to be using a shirt for the American flag. You could also use things like tote bags, because I've done a tote bag here. And you could also do wooden signs. So those are some other options for you as well. But I'm just going to feature the shirt and the pillowcase. So to get these prepped, I'm going to go ahead and delint them. That's always good practice to make sure things are going to stick well. So I'm just going to roll a lint roller over this. And then same thing with my shirt. It's also a good idea to pre-press your material when you're dealing with heat transfer, because it's going to eliminate moisture from your material, it's going to flatten out wrinkles, and just basically prep the material to receive your design better. So even while my easy press is continuing to heat up, I'm still just going to press it for a few seconds. Even though it's not the full temperature, it doesn't really need to be. It just needs like 5 seconds or so to press and get some of that moisture and wrinkles out. So I'm just going to do that. I also kind of like to do it everywhere so that my shirt's ironed when I'm done with it and I can just put it on. So if you're wondering about washing, you can pre-wash your shirts. I don't always do that, but it can be good practice to pre-wash your shirt, especially if you're dealing with something like cotton that can easily shrink. That's a good thing to do to make your heat transfer vinyl last longer. So I do recommend pre-washing when you can for best results. Okay, so this one's ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and just set this up here and pre-press the our pillowcase here. Okay, so this is still heating up, but I'm gonna go ahead and pre-press this. Okay, so my easy press is up to temperature now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. So you wanna start with the largest piece, which in my case is going to be the red. And I want this to be kind of at the top of my shirt here, so I am just eyeballing this. If you want to try your shirt on before you do this to get an idea of where it's kind of falling on you, that might be a good idea. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this though. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my easy press, put it down, and hit that play button or Cricut icon button, and it's going to count down for the 30-second timer that we set on it. Alright, so that's done. What you want to do is do a cool peel. So this is very hot because we just lifted the press off. You have to wait until this is completely cool to the touch. So you need to give it a good 3 to 5 minutes minimum before you even try and do anything. Alright, so this is cool to the touch now. I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this. If for any reason this is not sticking and you're seeing these pieces lift up, place the liner right back down and then press for at least another 20 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, and then let it completely cool again and then try again. If you follow the proper temperature settings with the heat guide that I'll link below for you, it should not be a problem in general, but if it does happen, and it's happened to me, then just repress, wait for it to cool, and then give it another try. Okay, so that part is complete. Let's go ahead and add this part. Now don't get rid of this liner that we just took off. You need to save it. We're going to use it in just a second here. We're going to go ahead and get this pressed down. And then you're going to take your liner that you just took off and lay it back down, because you want to protect what we've already pressed to the surface. Because if you put the heat plate directly on this, you're going to ruin the design. So make sure that that's completely covered and protected. And then let's go ahead and press for another 30 seconds. Okay, so that's done. We're going to lift that. Again, you're going to let it completely cool until you can touch it without feeling any heat. So while this is cooling, I'm going to go ahead and press my pillowcase design. Here's my pillowcase. Pay attention to where your zipper is, because I like my zippers to be on the bottom. I've already prepped the material and everything. So I have 3 layers for this one. Silver, red, and blue. Kind of curled up on me. So I recommend for this particular design, or if you're dealing with a similar layering situation, start with your biggest one first, because again, when we layer, we're going to want to protect the rest of the design and use this liner to place down to protect it while we press a second or a third time. So I'm going to go ahead and get this placed, and I'm kind of just eyeballing it here on the centering. If you want to be very particular and perhaps you struggle with centering things, then I would recommend, you know, taking like a measuring tape and measuring your pillow, and maybe finding like a halfway point, and you can mark it by even folding the material and pressing it with the heat press to give it a little bit of a crease to give you a halfway point. So that's something that you could do. For example's sake, let me do that. So I'm just going to fold this in half this way, and I'm just going to give it a quick press like that. So when I open it back up, I have sort of a center line to focus on. It can be a little hard to see on camera, but I can see it here. And it gives you a little bit of guidance with things like pillows and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this down. And I'm going to place my Easy Press down. Now this design is slightly wider than the width of my Easy Press, so I'm going to press once down here, and then I'll move it up and press at the top. So we'll let it count down for 30 seconds here, and then I'll move it up towards the top and press again. Okay, again, we want to let this cool before we try peeling. It's especially important when you're dealing with these small little dot pieces to create this rhinestone effect, so make sure you're being vigilant about letting it cool. While that one's cooling, this one is now cool, and I can lift it. Start with the top liner there, and then this one, and there we go. How cool is that? Doesn't that look like rhinestones? Like, you can't tell unless you're up close or you're physically touching it. It literally looks like a rhinestone design. That is such a cool effect, right? So I really love this technique, and we have all of these July 4th designs that we're creating here. They are free to my community. This one's really fun. And you can scale these at different sizes. Like I said before, I highly recommend not going too small. This one was the smallest I've gone, and it took a little bit to put some of these little dots back where they go, but it still turned out great. Just be mindful that you're not going too tiny, or you might struggle with that a little bit more. Okay, so back to our pillowcase here. I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this back now that it's cool. Go nice and slow. Again, make sure you save this liner. We're going to need it in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get this down next, the star part. Okay, so that's pretty good like that. Now, even though this is mostly covered, there's still a few little dots out here, so I'm still going to use this other liner just to protect that area and make sure that no direct heat is hitting our vinyl. And I'm again going to press in 2 sections here. I could probably do 1 because this one's not quite as large, but I'm going to press in 2 sections just to make sure. Okay, so this is now cool, and I'm going to go ahead and peel off my liners. Alright, and we've got one more layer to do. It is my blue layer. Alright, and again, I'm going to take my large liner and place it over everything so it's protected from the heat. And we're going to go ahead and press this down. Okay, so this is cool to the touch now. I'm going to start with the top layer. And then remove this part. So we have this one that says America, and it's really pretty. We have our shirt with our small flag on the lapel that has that pretty rhinestone effect to it. I also did the flag in a larger size on a pillowcase as well, so I think that's really cool. We did a sign with some cute American sunglasses that says America at the bottom, and that one's really sparkly and pretty. And then I also did a tote bag as well, which says home of the free because of the brave. On this one, I just did a couple of the words that had that rhinestone effect. This was a font that I downloaded, and I'll share that information with you below as well. But you can get all of these files for free on members.abbikirstencollections.com, and you can make your own sparkly July 4th rhinestone projects. I would absolutely love to know if you want me to make more designs like this. Do you like this effect? And what questions do you have for me? I'll be happy to help you and answer them. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.